The Canadian Armed Forces is relaxing their requirements to get into the military. This is because recruitment is at an all-time low. This is all while they're still being sued for releasing so many for not taking the vaccine. Now, external review found military COVID-19 vaccine policy violated the Charter of Rights and Freedoms in Canada. The policy resulted in 299 people being released and another 108 leaving the armed forces on their own. Does that sound like a lot of people? It actually is. Our military is at an all-time low right now, and they did this. They went and did this, and they're not letting them back. Obviously, this is not the case, and they're actually being sued. Go check out Valour Legal if you want to find out more about the cases. I've had Catherine on the show before to talk about this case in particular. But I digress. Let's get into this story here. Military is ditching aptitude test for some applicants and will start accepting recruits with medical conditions. Obviously not the medical condition where it would not allow you to take the vaccine. Perhaps your doctor recommended that you don't do it. Perhaps it was just a moral thing. You just did not want to take it. But no, that aside, put that one aside. No. We're gonna require that, but perhaps if you have diabetes or things like that, things that would normally limit you from entering the military to be a soldier, they're going to relax these requirements. That's right. This is something that's happening in Canada. Unbelievable. Now, the CBC has put together some of these videos talking about this. I'm just going to let this one play. It's just, wow.
Military recruitment is now a critical problem. CBC News reported last week on documents that show Canada's readiness is decreasing. Only 58% of the forces is able to respond if called upon by NATO, leading the defense minister to warn the military's been losing more people than it brought in for the last 3 years.
That's right, the defense minister. Listen to what he has to say. Bill Blair.
Frankly, it's a death spiral for the Canadian Armed Forces. We cannot afford to continue on that pace. We've got to do something differently.
Another one of those things, an overhaul of the military's one-size-fits-all medical standards by early summer.
People can serve fully in the CAF with low-risk medical employment limitations that right now would be screened out.
The military says the new trial will allow more people with pre-existing medical conditions to serve.
And Ashley, what more have you learned about those changes when it comes to medical conditions?
Well, Ian, Brigadier General Brody says decisions will be made on a case-by-case basis, and applicants will still need to meet the physical demands of the job. People have complained in the past about being screened out for taking medication for ADHD or anxiety. One applicant even said he wasn't eligible because of a peanut allergy. The defense minister said that these new trials are a good first step, but that more needs to be done to get those recruitment numbers up. Ian?
Ashley. Unbelievable. Yes, of course, a peanut allergy could be a dire circumstance for your fellow soldiers in I don't know, maybe in the middle of a battle, perhaps, all these cases. Yes, if you have medical anxiety, people are released because of the anxiety from post-traumatic stress disorder. There's good reason why they haven't done that. Now, this is not new news. The relaxing of some of the standards in the military. 6 months ago, there's this story. Canadian military relaxes rules to try and increase recruits. What did they do? They're relaxing dress standards at first.
Especially at a time when the entire military is so short of personnel. 1 in 10 jobs in the forces is vacant.
We're understaffed right now. We're heavily understaffed.
And Sailor First Class Anton Parker backs one strategy to retain members. It's right there in his hair. And mutton chop sideburns, a relaxation of decades-old dress standards in the hopes it'll incentivize people to stay.
It was a happy moment. My mom saw me actually just before I deployed this year, and it's the longest my hair's ever been in my life. And then also, I get to wear a pretty cool mustache now.
On board his ship, HMC...
Okay, so they get to have mustaches and long hair now. This is, I don't care about that. I really don't care about that as long as you fit the bill, really, and you're qualified for the job. If you can't pass an aptitude test, which is actually the first part of this whole thing, of relaxing requirements for certain jobs, aptitude, are you not even smart enough for the job? And of course, are you healthy enough to be a soldier? This all at a time when in Canada, we have basically, they stated that we have about 3 days worth of munitions and we have no personnel. If we were invaded, 3 days, we have 3 days we could fight back. Essentially, the Michigan militia that we all heard about during the 1990s could take us over. Could take us over at any point. This is really, really ridiculous at this point. Now, another story from the Epoch Times. Canada's defense chief received legal advice from the Office of the Judge Advocate General. JAG, you may have heard this because there was a popular TV show for military courts. In 2001, that there was no evidence supporting a COVID-19 vaccine requirement for all members, and that imposing one would be fraught with legal risks. An internal document obtained by the Epoch Times shows. So they knew that this was a big no-no to be requiring this of their servicemen, and they've released so many of them and refused to take any of them back at this point for refusing this. Why is this the hill that Canada is going to die on militarily? Really, it's the big question that I have today is that. The document issued on February 2nd, 2021 by the JAG's office, the Military Legal Department, also cites guidelines by a physician's legal defense organization that warns against obtaining consent to administer vaccine under compulsion by an employer or others. The document was prepared for Chief of Defense Staff General Wayne Eyre a few months before the Canadian Armed Forces imposed vaccine mandates. Now, talking to legal in this one, talking to people behind the scenes and people who are familiar with the case, it turns out that there was the first general did not want to impose a mandate on the Canadian Armed Forces. They did not want to do that. So what happened? Well, they drummed up some sex scandal on the guy, forced him into retirement. And then the next guy came into place. Guess what? He didn't want to do it either. He did not want to impose these mandates on the armed forces either. Guess what happened to him? A sex scandal came out of nowhere and he was forced into retirement. Third guy, what happened to him? He didn't want to do it either. And before the sex scandal could come out, he bent the knee. He bent the knee and he went along with this, despite the legal team saying that this is illegal. It goes against their charter rights, again, as this CBC article is pointing out here. A tribunal is part of the military grievance process that has found that the Canadian Armed Forces COVID-19 vaccine policy violated its members' charter rights. The Military Grievance External Review Committee reviewed grievances that are referred to it by the Chief of Defense Staff, provides the chief with non-binding findings and recommendations. In all, 157 grievances have been filed with the Independent Tribunal over the military vaccination policy, which took effect in the fall of 2021 and remained in place for nearly a year before being updated to apply more narrowly. Because dozens of similar grievances are being considered at the same time, the committee took the step to release 3 annexes in mid-July that laid out an analysis for the order to streamline future cases. The vaccine policy required Canadian Armed Forces members to be vaccinated against COVID-19 or face release. This is the choice that they were given, and it broke their charter rights. This is, I can't stress this enough. Canada is defenseless. This at a time when there's so much contention around the world. And I mean, what our politicians are telling us, we have to worry about Russia, about China, even about the United States. Who knows? We'll see what happens. We have internal threats of our own. We have people, referendums saying that they want to start new countries, even within Canada. What do you say to that at all? Anyway, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think about all of this, relaxing the requirements. Would you feel safe on the battlefield knowing or not knowing that people reached what used to be standard requirements for serving in the military? Anyway, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.